What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new week and a brand new episode on the Blossoming Chronicle podcast. And thank you so much to whosoever has tuned in back another week to listen to another story and has devoted time to their growth and their learning. I trust everyone's doing really great in their lives. And if you're not, just stay tuned to the end of this episode. You definitely will be. Growing on social media is hard, and growing a business based on social media is freaking harder. Marketing is all about conveying your vision and passion. Today, we have someone really eloquent on the podcast who is going to bring the statement to life. Hailing from Bristol, United Kingdom, father of two kiddos, we have Tom Ford. After equipping himself into sales and business development, coaching people into sales, and understanding markets, today Tom has established himself as a successful social media marketer working with 6 to 7 figure brands. Out of all the social media marketing agencies, what is so different about his agency? His agency is purpose driven, passion driven, heart driven, and why driven. However, all the happy beginnings and happy endings come with a lot of road bumps and with a lot of hustle. Tom has struggled in business, he struggled in relationships, and he struggled with himself. But he's always come out on the other side and proved that everything is figure outable. Today, Tom is going to just cut through the BS and discuss about what it actually takes to start and grow a company. The mental strength, the limiting beliefs. His story will make you uncomfortable. It'll make me uncomfortable and will prove to you guys that there was never certainty in building a company anyway. But as long as we care about each other and the company, we're just going to be great. It's really an honor for me to be talking to him today about the most intimate intricacies of his journey. So, without any more delay, welcome to the show, Tom Ford. What were the limiting beliefs while you started your business that have changed over time, and you've been able to grow out of them, and you kind of convey it with your content?
The limiting beliefs, I think, within my industry is that there are potentially too many people doing what I do already, and that maybe the client doesn't need the service. I think in my head, I'm thinking, well, hang on, is digital marketing, social media marketing, if it's not that, if people encourage, like Facebook encourage you to boost posts and do it yourself. And I'm thinking, well, people aren't going to pay me to do that because they can just do it themselves. Like, there won't be a job. I'm not going to have a job, and this is going to go wrong, and I'm going to start my business when actually they don't need it. People are doing it themselves these days. And then I thought to myself, but there's like every person can be a digital marketer, and you can all be freelance and do your own thing. So maybe there's just too many of them. And I was convinced that actually maybe this isn't the right thing. That was a limiting belief, because actually when I got into the space that I'm now in, business owners and businesses have no time to do their own marketing or digital marketing or social media of any kind. They are so far distanced from it. It's unbelievable. So when you come with some ideas and a plan and a strategy, you blow their mind, because they're like, wow, I would never do that myself. Wouldn't even know where to start. So then I'm thinking, great, there is a need for my agency. And then when I look at the agencies that are out there, yes, there are loads, but I very quickly realized that my limiting belief was not right, because those agencies are terrible. So there's a lot of bad versions of what we do, which has a pro and a con against the industry. But I remember thinking, this is not going to work out because of these two reasons. But actually, it couldn't be any further from the truth. So it's amazing how quick you can turn that limiting belief around.
Okay. Yeah. Perfectly put. Okay. Nice. So tell me that how did your career trajectory kind of change over the years? Because firstly, you were into sales, and it's like nothing just clicks in a moment. And kind of, I'd say that sales is more about growth, and you need the skill of selling in whatever phase of your life. And so how did your career trajectory kind of shift from, and how did you skim your way from sales to marketing and eventually to social media marketing?
Okay. So with me, I've worked for several different companies, and now own my own business, and it's going absolutely the way I expected it to go, because that's you can only think positive. So I'm very, very happy. But I think with me, when I first started in sales, or even in my career at like 20, I was doing cold calling, so I was learning really the hard way, where I'm picking up the phone and I'm ringing people who don't really want to speak to me, not initially. So I had a very hard learning on sales, where I had to be quite savvy with what I said on the phone. I had to be very short, sharp, to the point, and I got my communication skills developed hugely in that time. I think in terms of the transition, I went from then sales on the phone to sales in person. So if you can sell on the phone, you can sell in person, because you've got body language, eye contact, verbal cues to go off. So the transition is like an easy one on that. And then it went from sales to, I then worked for another company who didn't have a marketing department, and they wanted someone to help with the marketing. They're only a small company.
Okay.
So I then worked as part of their marketing company. So I was looking after some of their LinkedIn, Facebook. I was doing brochures. I was working with, it wasn't Canva at the time, it was like InDesign, lots of different programs, but I was helping their marketing, getting their marketing going. And then they took on a team. So I was kind of working with the team whilst doing the sales. And actually, it then led to me having quite a big job within a sales marketing role. And then we get to the point where it was sort of 15, 16, 17 years down the line, and I'm 38, and I've now got my own business, which is sales and marketing, definitely. But that's the transition. But in all honesty, whoever's listening and watching this, if you're thinking about getting into social media marketing, which is what I do, I am a firm believer that you actually don't need to be that good at sales to do this job. And that will stagger some people and be like, what? But you don't need, and if anything, and I said this to a guy yesterday on another call, if anything, the more salesy you become, the less trustworthy you look. So I would say, if you're thinking about it and you'll think, well, I'm not a salesperson, I can't do sales, but I do really want to help people manage their socials, and I want to help people with their Instagram accounts and to grow it, and I want to help run ads for people, then you don't need to be a sales. You honestly don't. You need to have a personality, and you need to have determination and show that you are a very likable, knowledgeable, valuable person. That's all you have to do. I've never seen myself as a salesperson, and I know, like, off camera, me and you were talking about this, but like, it is a life skill, not something you can just learn. It's sales. Good salespeople, I honestly feel a good salesperson wasn't just taught how to be a good salesperson. They were always a very confident person who was willing to push the social boundaries, perhaps, and then you can have a bit of sales training that then starts to get better. But actually, you can't take an introverted person and make them a salesperson. You can't do it. And I can say that because I've coached over 100 people. However, introverted people are often the most successful. So you look at Elon Musk, and you look at oh my God, Apple, the guy, Steve Jobs. You know, people who, and even Bill Gates, these are introverted people who are massively wealthy. So you don't have to be a good salesperson. You just have to be knowledgeable, bright, have a personality, and be trustworthy enough for people to go, yeah, I like you, I want to do business with you. And actually, the more salesy people become, the people start to see through it, and they don't believe it, and it actually can go in against you. So you don't need to be a good salesperson to do this job. Okay, this is eye-opening. Okay. Yeah. Well, people might be listening to this and going, oh, wow, that's good news. And it is good news. However, if you are not willing to improve on your communication skills and show people your personality and show people your smile and the fact that you have what we call, what's the word? Like a bit of bounce in you, then charismatic. Charisma. So if you're not showing people that side of you, and you're just talking like this, and we can do this and this and this, you're going to lose them. You just won't keep their attention. But if I'm talking like this and I'm like, hey, and I bring little moments back of personality where I'm trying to gauge you, you're going to be listening to me. And that's all people need. That's all sales is you want one person to listen to you, understand you, and then make a decision. And actually, you don't need to all this closing. I hear so much about closing. How do you close? How do you close a client? How do you close a client? And I can't obviously go into too much detail because it gets quite complex. But actually, a good salesperson never closes. Never, ever closes for business. It just happens. They just go, yeah, okay, let's do it. And it's a natural from the minute they start talking to that person.
Yeah.
It translates into like into the ultimate outcome for them.
Yeah. No, I remember you telling me this thing that while you were getting into social media marketing, you were also getting your professional qualifications for it. Okay. So this is a personal question I want to ask you. Do you think you've learned more through that, or like through that education, or do you think you've learned more by learning? And was that course worth it for you?
No. It wasn't worth it at all.
Okay.
I honestly, no, I didn't learn everything I'm doing in my job today. There is maybe 1% that I have learned from going to night school and getting my qualifications in marketing.
Okay.
I have got qualifications that are recognized qualifications here in the UK for marketing.
Yeah.
And I could do this job without it. I really don't need it. I think you just don't, the education side of it, I wanted it so I could have a personal achievement. I wanted to say that I went to night school, I studied in my own time, I did exams, and I didn't study for those exams. I just studied in the lessons, didn't do anything outside of it. But I understood marketing. That's one thing I realized is actually when I was attending the night school, I was very interested. I was interested from the minute that the teacher would start talking to the end. I never lost my attention, which made me think I really enjoy marketing. Okay. And I got my qualifications quite easily. But none of it I use, none of it I apply, and you don't need to. You really don't. And I think it's social media. You actually can't even teach. Like it makes me laugh when people say that they have qualifications or a degree in digital marketing, because so much changes like all the time. You can have one little change on Facebook and on the advertising platform, and then you don't know how to do it. Yeah. And actually you can have one client that prefers this method, another one prefers that method. And actually there's so many variable factors and so much is changing. It's such a fast-paced industry. If you were to ask me 2 years ago, would you advertise on TikTok? I'd be like, what the hell's TikTok? Like, what is TikTok? Yeah. Now it's the fastest growing platform ever of all time. It's got to 1 billion users, active users, quicker than Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, everyone. It has overtaken the world, TikTok. So you never know what's around the corner, and you can't teach it. You can't get educated on it. You can learn the basics through marketing basics and principles. There's it's actually 7, but the 7 principles of marketing, you can learn that, which applies across the board. But actually the day-to-day general things, it can't be taught. You've got to learn that on the job.
But do you think it's useful apart from social media? Like, if I think diving into marketing, I've been thinking for B2B. Okay. So do you think it will be useful for that? Because I want to go through that education. I personally don't want to. And I'm just kind of listening to it, to kind of affirm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
There actually isn't anything really such, like for me, what other marketing is there that's not social media? Like social media marketing doesn't really exist anymore. Like that actual term, social media marketing, it doesn't really apply because it's digital marketing. Everything is digital. Yeah. Because a lot of my clients, I've got lots of clients, but there's many clients, not all of them, who use Google Ads as a marketing. That's not social media, that's Google. However, it falls under SMMA. So where does the social media term start and where does it stop compared to digital marketing? And actually, there is no social media marketing. It's just digital marketing. And digital marketing is really the best and most, in my view. You can advertise in the local newspaper, you can put billboards up around Times Square. You can have TV, radio, influencers, but influencers still falls under digital marketing because it's on a digital platform.
Yeah.
But really, when you think about those, if you had a brand new product, say you've got a sleeping product that helps people sleep, are you going to put that on the radio and just hope people who have got sleeping problems listen to it? Or are you going to take it to social media, digital platform, and sell it to a targeted audience who we know through pixel data, cookies, we know they're interested in that product? For me, there isn't really any other marketing that actually competes.
Yeah. But I think initially I used to think that confidence is innate, but now I don't think that I think it's a little bit innate, but I think it builds with time. Like with the number of videos I have done, I've got confident with each video, but I think it builds with consistency. And you told me that you did feel some sort of imposter when you were just starting out. So what was that like for you? And how did you kind of, I'd say, grow out of that and kind of distinguish between the real and the social life and be like what you are? Because I have seen people kind of bombarding Instagram with information. On your profile, I feel it's not that way. And that's why I kind of followed you. And I do not want so many posts, but if one post is valuable on someone's platform, I think I'd follow. So, and I think for me, personal touch as well is very important, because if the person is speaking like you do.
Yes.
So,
well, you build going on to the confidence, confidence can grow like that. That is something you can start your life as a very non-confident person and finish the most confident. Let's take someone like Freddie Mercury in Queen, the band Queen, who he was a boy from India, actually.
Okay.
And he, do you know who Freddie Mercury is?
No.
You really need, if anyone's watching this, I really hope you all know who Freddie Mercury is. Please Google the guy. He was in a band called Queen, which is a big UK band, not anymore, but back in the 80s, 90s.
You're embarrassing me.
You need to check this guy out. So boy from India. Well, he was actually from Zanzibar, but he was from Zanzibar, very quiet boy. And then he went to be this rock star in front of thousands of people with an attitude and a lifestyle. And you talk about growing in confidence, and that is he just oozed it towards the end. So you can learn and inherit confidence on things that go successfully. Where people struggle at the minute with social media is because you're smiling. Why are you smiling?
No, anyway. I'm smiling because no. I'm smiling because when I started the intro, it's like you're saying that if a person is standing in front of thousands of people, I'm in my drawing room, in my living room, but I feel like so many people are watching me. Okay, so with the first video, I'm telling you, I was very freaked out. Okay, nobody was watching me, but I knew I can edit the video. I know anything goes wrong, I can edit the video, but still I was there. So I'm like, this guy has gone nuts.
It's the same though, whether you're on stage and you're a lead singer of a rock band, you still have to muster up the same amount of confidence as it would doing a podcast or me doing my Instagram. What knocks people's confidence is negative feedback. So that's something which people have to deal with and completely ignore, which is really, really difficult. Even if, I don't really get any negative feedback, but I would know to not take it personally in any aspect because I don't know you. But I think with social media and building the confidence, you do have to, confidence just comes in time, but you will be far more confident if you're being the person you are and congruent to you. If you're trying to be a character and trying to be like someone who you like on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, if you're trying to just mimic someone else, you're putting way too much pressure, and it will hit your confidence because you won't get it won't be right for you. If you're yourself and you're really genuine and you're giving the personal touch, you'll grow in confidence because people actually will end up really engaged with you as well as your content,
Yeah, I get it. I was very, very younger. I used to like very, very comfortably. I used to speak in front of a lot of people. Like I haven't spoken in front of many people, but I think at high school I have. And then I didn't used to be freaked out but the reason was because all of like it was my school, people knew me. So I wasn't that fearful. But
Yeah.
yeah, like it's like, okay, so pandemic, pandemic has kind of, fucked everything up. So yeah, okay.
I think you do well with your podcast, and I think with you've certainly got I think a lot of people certainly get the impression that you are a confident person and you are an extrovert. So I think it's I think you do, whether you are or not, only you know. So, but I think you come across very well.
Okay, so that's kind of you to say, but yeah, I'm still working. Let's see how far I go. Okay. There's a lot of bad advice out there. Okay. And pretty much every advice is bad advice. Or I think 5% of the advice out there is healthy advice. You told me about one of your gurus who pretended to be a guru, but fucked you over big time. Would you be
Yeah.
interested in talking about that? And that as young people, we are kind of asked to take advices from people who are far more experienced than us, but their mindset isn't as mature that should be with the growing time, and they just give us advice that literally fucks us up. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'd like to know your perception on that.
Bad advice. You don't know anything is bad advice until it's too late, do you? That's the only way you know it was bad advice. Is
But you
once
have the
you
gut feeling, no? Like, like
you
I
have
don't
to have a
know.
gut feeling. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. When going back to, you have to be aware that people are always going to give you advice, and I don't think you should be pretty aware that bad advice is going to be out there. You will get some advice off people that you think, oh my gosh, what is that? I think most advice comes from a good place from people. I do believe, I'm a big believer that actually I don't think everyone's out to get you and to trip you up. I think people do try and help you, but they don't understand your situation or the situation you want to be in or where you want to go, because they're not in here. So that they look at it from their own point of view.
yeah,
Some people, if they're catching a flight to America, let's say, will be there 5 hours before the plane takes off, because you have to be there nice and early, and you could get caught in traffic. And my advice to you is get there at 5 a.m, even though your flight is at 2 p.m. There's some people like that. Or my advice could be, do you know what? You only need to be there 2 hours before. If your flight's at 2, get there at 12. Some people would say that's really bad advice, Tom. But that's only because every time I've done that, I've experienced nothing but good. So I'm coming from my place and I don't understand your place. So I think you have to take bad advice with a pinch of salt, as we say. But
okay,
yeah,
this
there's
is
also,
decisions which kind of direct your life. I mean, see,
yeah,
I'm being honest, I get very unsolicited advices because given the fact that I'm just on the verge of starting my career. Okay. And it's like over here in India, people like believe in following that, that kind of mainstream path and just like working, like they just want to settle. I do not know why do people have that settling mindset over here, that okay, by 30 you're gonna get this and then you're gonna settle. Okay, even if you have kids, you have to hustle with them, you have to work on them. What is the settling about? And you have to grow with them, you have to learn with them. So
that's based on their limiting beliefs.
yeah,
So we're talking about limiting beliefs, and that's what that. Well, the bad advice, it wasn't so much bad advice I got, but when I first started out, I wanted to increase my knowledge and skill set. So I was told that I was going to buy a course and I'd have a huge amount of mentorship and everything will be okay, and you'll everything you need to know, you'll know it. And it just didn't turn out as it was planned, and the person. I felt the person who I'd signed up with just wanted me to spend more and more money with them, regardless of the outcome of how I was feeling or where I was going with my business. So it left a bad taste in my mouth, but I learned huge amounts from it, because actually I know what I wouldn't do with someone else. And actually I want to give as much free consultancy or advice, good, hopefully, but I'm trying to give as much without really anything back. And I think that it does. Maybe I wouldn't have thought that if I hadn't experienced it, but there's certainly, I do understand from people when it comes to bad advice that you have to be open to all advice, and then you have to sift through and think, well, is that the right thing? Sometimes people are telling you advice that you think is bad advice, but actually is really good advice.
But don't you think that sometimes it can
That blows your head.
But don't you think it can sometimes add on to the noise as well? At the end of the day, you have to do it for yourself. You have to do it because you just don't want to be in the feeling that what if I didn't do it? What if I just didn't go for it? What if that advice becomes noise?
Well, if you're taking bad advice of people all the time, then you need to have a good judge of, sense your judge of character and who's giving you this type of thing. I think most of it comes down to, you do have to look at what other people have achieved. So if someone's telling you don't start your own business, it's going to be a terrible mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's just because they always had the limiting belief that that's not for them. It's the same with many, many things. People could say, don't have children because childbirth is too painful. That's one person's view on it. And that's because their experience was tainted. So I think you have to look at everyone and go, well, what have they achieved? Why are they telling me that? Why are they saying to do this? That's the key thing. There's always a reason why.
Okay. That was something I was looking for.
More often than not, it's parents. It's parents that do it. Parents, because we respect our parents so much. Nearly most of us all respect your mother and your father. And when they give you advice and you categorically don't agree with it, it can be really bad advice because they're just protective over their girl or their boy in their life, and they want to be, and that comes from their fear. It can stop you. It can limit you of what you do as a person.
Okay. 10 years later, I'm going to ask you this, okay? About your kids.
Watch Moana on TV. It's a Disney film. You'll enjoy it. It's a really good one.
What's the plot of the story?
The plot is she lives in a tribe.
Okay.
And she is always told you're not allowed to leave the tribe. You can't go in the ocean ever. The ocean's bad.
Okay.
But in her head, she was always like, no, I must. I feel that is what I must do. So her parents always tell her, do not leave the island ever. But she has a burning desire to explore and to find what the world is about. So she goes against advice that she's been given all her life, goes out and experiences what she does, and then basically saves the entire island from whatever. And it just shows courage and the tenacity of someone to go against advice they've always been given. But it's a really great film, so you want to go watch it. You can tell I've got kids because my kids love that film.
Because my dad is a businessman, so it's like he always asks me that don't go for a business because he wants me to be kind of financially secure, where you have a recurring income. So he knows the ups and downs, and he's like, okay, and I'm like, okay, you were also not ready to work for someone.
This is the other thing. Well, this is the other thing is age. Like people. Like I said, I'm 38, and I'm just starting. Well, not starting. A couple of years for me to get to this stage. But people will be listening to you. They'll be listening to what me and you are talking about. And if you're like in your 20s or even 30s, you've got so much time. Gary Vee talks about this a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But you have got
such a lot of time. Yeah.
Such a lot of time, but you do need to work at things, but you've got so much time. You're not at 25. You don't panic about your career at 25. Don't panic about your career at 35.
Like we were discussing about Brent Francis, and you said that even though he's earning a lot, but he's still living a very, I'd say, mediocre life in terms of materialism, because he has to, at the end of the day, do his job. What do you think that people should be following when it comes to, being financially sound? Because it's not the amount of money you're earning, it is also the amount that you're investing back into your business to kind of grow it, because you just can't spend all of it for your materialistic desires. At least initially you can't. And having stuff is okay, I also do, but initially you need to kind of fight the urge to do that, because initially you need to invest it into your business. So what is your psychology of money at this point in life?
you know, with my career, I've always earned good salaries because in sales you can earn good money here in the US, here in the UK, and in the US. But I've always earned a good salary in a sense. But you always live to your means. So if you are earning $3,000 a month, then you will spend $3,000 a month normally, unless you're an amazing saver and you're burying money away and putting it into different banks and stuff. You will normally spend at least 90% of what your income is, always, if not more than your income, which is why we have global debt. Okay, because people have been spending more than they've been earning. However, yeah, we talk about Ben Francis. There was something interesting I saw on TikTok about Ben at Gymshark, and Ben Francis created Gymshark. It kind of basically the business went viral really in the fitness world. It kind of went viral. Everyone was wearing it. It became a thing, and now it's a $1 billion brand. Okay, which Gary Vee's now just invested in, and he's on the board. But Ben, there was a question asked to Ben about, what do you pay yourself? And people would say, oh, he's, now the value of the company is like $1 billion. He must be a billionaire. He's not. He's not. If he sold the business out and out, sold the business and sold his share in the business, he would be very, very wealthy and never have to work again. But he's not doing that. So he takes a regular salary because the expenses, because think how much they've grown, Gymshark, from selling gym gear, gym equipment, gym clothing, apparel clothing in his garage, to buying premises, warehouse space, forklift trucks, staff. Where does that money come from? Do people just, you get big one day and they go, oh, there, you can have all these staff now. He's invested every single penny straight into the company, and he's hardly taken a salary. Taking on, having to pay for board members, and he's got well over 300 warehouse staff, if not more. A huge, I don't know how many square feet it is of a building with all the stock in it, and then there's stock, and then he's making it. So many costs. It's not, you don't, and it's the same with social media marketing and my journey from earning. I've always kept very level at it. If you're earning $10,000 a month, $10,000, which in my industry you can do that quite straightforward, really, really can. If you're earning $20,000 a month, people think you're taking home $20,000 a month. They think that is what is in your bank every month.
No.
And if you think that, even if your SMMA business is doing $5,000 a month, you've got 5 clients that pay you $1,000 each. That's $5,000 a month. There is something called tax. Now, in the UK, tax is huge, but we have free healthcare and we have good roads and we have all these things. Tax is massive. So if you're earning £5,000 in the UK, you don't take that home and spend $5,000 a month. You will be taxed. 40% of that is tax. Okay. You will then have national insurance tax, which is another tax that we have. Then you're left with money. Well, then you need a pension. So when you get to 60, what are you going to do for money? Do you want to keep working at 60? No, you have to put money aside in a pension. And when you put it in a pension, you can't get it back. It's locked. You can't one day go, oh, do you know what? I'm a bit short of money. I'm going to take some money out of my pension. That can't happen. Once you put money in a pension in the UK and the US, it's in there. You can't take it out until your pension age. But when you do that, so you put money in a pension, then you're left with some money. That after that $5,000 per month, you're left with some cash. If you've got a business that you want to grow, where's the money going to come from to grow the business? If you want to take on a member of staff, you need to pay them. If you want, I don't recommend business cards you don't need, but you know what I'm talking about. If you need rent, etc., someone's got to pay for it. All right. And I think people have got, with Ben Francis, people have got this opinion that he's a multi-millionaire. He's not. He will be, but he's not right now. If you're earning $5,000 a month on SMMA, you're not taking home 5,000. You're probably taking home around about 2. But that's still a good salary at the end of it. But it's not the same. People have a very misconceived idea about money. There's so much involved. You just don't. No one knows.
Okay. And
if you want to earn $10,000 a month, you need to be earning 20. Because if you're earning 20, you can account for $10,000 into your business, pension, taxes, staff. You can do all that with $10,000, and then you have got $10,000 in your bank. But you need to earn 20 to make 10, to net 10. And that's what people don't understand. They don't understand. They see all these people online saying, hey, earn $10,000 a month in SMMA, blah, 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 blah. It's not. And then you lose a client. Say you lose a client who spends $2,000 a month with you. Now you're down to $3,000, and you haven't been putting any effort into finding another client. So it just goes round and round and round.
What has been the biggest mistake of yours that you've learned through your financial journey over the years? I'd say like not a mistake, even a lesson. Say maybe, I could have done this better, because it takes time to understand, right? Money.
It does. I think I didn't learn this mistake. I was actually given some amazing advice. But when you start your business, the most important person that you actually need to pay is the government. And I mean that truly. Like, what you don't want to do is start a business, have a Stripe account, PayPal account, and earn lots of money, but then take the money out. Because if whoever's watching this, US, UK, India, Bangladesh, wherever you are, you have taxes.
Yeah.
The tax, if you are not paying taxes to your government for what you're doing, they will get it. They will get it. It doesn't matter how you do it, and you can run all your life, you will get caught and you will have to pay tax. Yeah. So the advice I was given was, when I started my business, one of my very, very good friends of mine, he's an accountant, and he said to me, Tom, whatever you do, just get an accountant that can do all your finances, make sure your income and outcome matches up, your tax returns are done, so you don't get hit with a bill one day from the tax saying you owe us $10,000. You don't want that.
Yeah.
And in the UK, it's one of the most common mistakes people make in their first year or two of trading, is they don't do their taxes properly. And then after 24 months, they get hit with a tax bill from the UK government to say, we know you've not been paying enough tax. You owe us $8,000.
Oh, $8,000. Okay.
And they want it, and they will get it.
Okay.
It follows you around on your number, on your ID number. So many people get into financial mistakes with it. But the advice I got, and I've never been in that problem, but I have an accountant. It does all my finances. Everything is now out of my hands, but I have to pay him.
Yeah.
And that's something which I've not learned that lesson. But I have a father as well who's very financially savvy. So he's always given me a lot of advice about finances. But the most important person that he's paying once you're earning money is the government, because if they're not getting their share and you're not paying income tax, you will have a huge problem.
Yeah, but I think as much as I agree with you, I think in India the situation is like worsening in the in the context that like that tax gap between the rich and the poor is like widening, and so it's like the people who are like belong to the middle income groups, okay, they are just taxed higher and higher, and when that income curve kind of just shoots up, your tax kind of gets lesser, and then obviously their saving also increases by I think like a larger amount, because increasing return, like the law of increasing returns, obviously. And so I think that is where problem exists in India, because people have to specially get an insurance. Okay. Yeah. Like over here, we do not have that system where what do you have over there? But I think it's worth in both the ways in terms of the facilities that you guys get, Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And we pay a lot in taxes, but we live in a country which has got everything it needs. And that's, unfortunately, that makes it expensive to live here. The UK is probably next to Sweden. I think it's Sweden, or is it Austria? Maybe it's Denmark. It's one of the most expensive places to live.
Yeah. So I really remember you telling me about that you were married to someone, and then like now you're not together. And so I'd like to ask you really that I'm asking you this because there is a stigma in India that you shouldn't actually, like, you're just stuck with the person you're stuck with, and you shouldn't just grow out of, if like no one wants to be unhappy together, right? And I
Yeah.
think if you're being together and you're not doing something you don't love, and that will make you more unhappier. So what are the things that you've learned through that? How has that helped you evolve as a
I
person?
think you're right. Like the culture differences in India and the UK and the US it is very different. So
Yeah.
what a marriage means to people in India, it's probably a bit, I don't know, but it can mean maybe a lot of different things than it does over here.
Yeah.
Marriage is very important, and I was married. I was married for like 4 years, and unfortunately, what happens is, not always, but in my situation, it just wasn't the right vibe, and people grow apart when you should be growing together. And I think
Yeah.
I've always got a lot of ambition in my job. I'm a very I really put myself out there, and I've got lots of plans to do lots and lots of different things. And when someone doesn't share that drive of yours, it can go two ways. You either then shrink up and go with what everyone wants you to do and stay in the situation, and you become very unhappy, depressed, and kind of start to resent, and you live your life achieving absolutely nothing because of someone else. So there's that element. Or you have to just go, do you know what, life is too short, I need to live my life, and this is happening for good reasons. So I had to move my life in a different direction. And I've still got a very good relationship with my ex-wife, and we've got two beautiful children who are amazing. So for me, but it wasn't until I cut ties with that, I really grew, absolutely really grew, because I had my own, I could do whatever I wanted in that sense. But it was a very tough decision. But it does affect you. It really, really does affect you. And it's not something I think in terms of relationships are very difficult anyway. You have to, they are hard, and they need a lot of work. And I'm not saying being a single guy who has a business, I think it does help that I don't have anyone to look after but me and my two kids. I think that does help. I only answer to what I want to do. So that makes my thinking go wild, like absolutely. I don't have anyone saying to me, oh, really, Tom, like, can we afford it? Really, Tom, is that a good idea? I don't have anyone doing that, like, ever. So for me, I make decisions all the time, and I spend things on what I want to do, and it's really helped me grow and to push myself in ways I didn't think. But that being said, it is when you've got someone in that scenario and they're supporting you, and they are your biggest fan, and they're rooting for you, and you come home to them and they are interested in what you've been doing and excited for you and want to share every ounce of it with you, then you've got the perfect ticket. That will help you grow, because you're growing together and you're experiencing it together. It's when you don't have that, it's so difficult, and you become a different person.
Relationship competence.
Yeah, because people can change you, can absolutely change you. They can, and it's, manipulation is one of the biggest factors in relationships, where someone will try and manipulate your way of thinking, and eventually you give in. And when you're told you can't do things enough, then eventually you won't do it, really, or you'll go completely wild and do the other thing. But it is hard, it's very, very difficult. And if anyone's going through that or has gone through, even like a breakup, it can destroy you temporarily, where you feel like you haven't got it knocks your confidence. Not just that, but people do judge you too. Do I want to be a divorced man at 38? People often will go, well, like, especially maybe in India, if you were married and divorced, that comes with stigma, and sometimes people can't cope with that stigma. They're like, oh, don't judge me. I just want to be happy. So you have to. There's so many things that are involved in that. But it does make or break the rest of your future. Somebody said to me, I know who it was, so I won't tell you who it was, but somebody said to me that your partner makes up 90% of your happiness. And if you're in a relationship that isn't going well, that's 90% of your overall feeling that is making you happy, and it's gone. So that leaves 10% for something else. And it is true.
It's true. And I think over here, it's like, I'm being honest with you. People talk about, okay, women empowerment. Yeah, we're doing stuff. We're doing stuff. We are also talking. But there are many people, I think, suffering out there. Okay.
Yeah.
And just because of the fear of, what people are going to say, like, I think as far as my parents are concerned, they do not say anything to me, but I think they do think about what the society says. And many a times even they've landed themselves in situations just by thinking that, okay, what are the other people are going to think, and they've landed unhappy. And I think it's not just for, I think, marriage, it's for, I think, any relationship. People just invest so much of time and energy and so much of themselves that they feel so drained, and they feel so like underconfident, and it's really like you need to just pick up the red flags. And I think every over here, live-in relationships are a very big stigma. Okay. And to me, it's like people get married. Okay. Live-in relationships, sex, and everything is a very big stigma. And over here in my head, I used to be like, okay, so something is bad before marriage. Okay. Then you take those 7 rounds and it becomes good.
Yeah, I know.
And it is silly. And you don't know a person, you don't know what should they do when they're sitting on the sofa. So like I personally feel that, and I have notions very, very contradicting to what like people in my family have, but I think I'm trying to breaking that through this podcast. So
I think you're breaking it through the podcast, and I think gradually those barriers are coming down. The traditional sense is changing. I think personally, that's whatever my opinion is worth. But I think traditional marriage is changing. Certainly here in the UK, I can't speak for India, but in the UK, marriage was like a huge thing, and you had to be married and you follow a certain path.
Yeah.
That you said. People don't follow that as much now, and it's actually way more accepted. Way more accepted.
And that's like really amazing, because maybe like, okay, it's a good thing to be married or maybe have a relationship, but if someone like decides, okay, at some point they don't want to, it's like, it's okay. And like that's not the only relationship that exists, and it can be any relationship that you can find fulfilling in your life. So but the worst thing I feel is people asking other people to compromise, and especially this is there for women, and it's like, okay, this really isn't a big deal, and so you can deal with this, but I think as we are growing, the scars a thing can leave on a person's mind and a person's soul, that is, I think, you cannot even erase it. So I think a person should be willing to, and that is the reason I feel financial security is the most important, and which kind of empowers you to take the decisions you want. I think most females in India are stuck into marriages they don't want to be, just because they are not financially secure. And it can be like the scariest.
Same in the UK. I think that is definitely the same in the UK.
Okay.
Because I really think it is, and so much of it comes down to your future is so reliant on the person that you are sharing that future with.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I get irritated when people like come to my place without a notice. Okay.
Like
they just show up. Okay, and then you have to spend. I think you spend your 60% of your life with whosoever you're dating. 60%, right?
Yes.
You should think.
Yeah, it's absolutely right.
Okay. So now is like a rapid fire round, okay? Where you have to answer questions in 1 word or 1 sentence maximum, okay? Best advice you've ever received or given to someone about business?
You should always be accepting to learn new things, and that's where you go wrong if you stop to learn. If you think you know it all, you're done.
The worst advice you've got from someone or you've given someone about business?
I had to do it the same as everyone else is doing it.
Okay.
They were literally like, oh, well, they're doing it that way, so you must have to do it that way. And I was like, no, not at all. And that was bad advice.
What's the best relationship advice you've ever received?
Always be independent.
Okay. What's the worst relationship advice you've received?
Like doing things to make them happy, and even though it makes you really unhappy.
Okay.
I don't think that's good.
Okay. This is a quote by Gary Vee. Okay. He
Love
says,
Gary Vee.
okay, so the dumb stuff you buy ends up owning you. Okay. So what is the dumbest thing you've ever bought?
It's like my friends would just laugh at this story. They would absolutely laugh. But I bought myself some like arm warmers. So it wasn't a coat. It was like an actual woolen, like a woolly arm warmer that goes around your thumb. And I wore them out thinking, like this looks really good. Like my arms.
That's not dumb. That's not dumb.
No, it was when you walk into a pub and your friends look at you and go, "What have you got on?"
No. But dumb in the terms which you feel was like dumb.
I really haven't bought many things that are that dumb.
Okay, anything you bought your kids that has been dumb?
Most of the things I buy my kids are dumb.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm not a big. If I buy something, it's like I give it loads of thought, and I haven't bought. Like I've had a car, but I bought a Mini once, and I remember thinking that was a really stupid choice because I loved it, and it was like the best car ever.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't really buy a lot of dumb stuff, and that sounds like a terrible answer, but I just don't.
Okay. What is the dumbest thing or service you've ever marketed to someone?
I worked for a company who made cleaning equipment, and they brought out a range which was halal, like halal. It was a halal cleaning range. So what that meant was the plastic they used didn't have any animal products in, because believe it or not, some plastics do have like parts of cow and things in. I don't know, but it had no animal traces on it. The oils that they used on the machine was like natural oils. It wasn't a grease made from animal. The packaging was all completely animal free. There was nothing that contained any traces. They were not allowed to use alcohol to wipe the machinery down because that's not correct. So they branded it as the halal range, and I think most people looked at it and thought that is the most stupid thing ever, because halal isn't a thing. It's like well, you probably know better than me, but obviously it's around killing animals in a particular direction and in a particular way, not the actual way it's produced. It was the most ridiculous product I've ever sold. Ever. Okay. Ever.
There wasn't one word, but I'll take it because the answer was
fine. It's a good story. Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah. Okay. An item under 100 pounds you can't live without.
I bought a massage chair.
Oh, okay.
For 60 pounds. And you notice that like one of the ones that have like the zzz.
Yeah. I get the one in Friends, right? Friends TV show.
Yeah, well, yeah. But this is one that goes on you throw it on the back of your chair.
Okay.
And then you lie back on your chair like this. So I haven't got, and then it sort of massages you. I can't live without that. It's the best thing ever.
Okay. If you lose everything today,
yeah,
what would you start your business with?
If I lost everything now, I would go and work for someone else, save money, and I would put that money into starting my own business, which I would then make money, and I'd leave my job.
Okay.
You can work wherever, make enough money, save some cash, then quit your job, start another job, and go for it.
Okay. So thank you so much, guys, to whosoever has watched this episode. You can reach out to us with the key takeaways from today's episode and about whatever you've learned through all of our social medias, which are there in the description below. You can reach out to Tom for his services into social media marketing. And the name of his agency is Click Swipe Marketing. And you can reach out to Tom and me via Instagram. You can reach out to Tom at Tom_SMMA, and you can reach out to me as well on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, And of course, you can post your comments on YouTube and Spotify. And if you were able to find this episode as a valuable one, just share it with at least one person so that even they are able to derive value from them. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah.
You're welcome. Let me know how it goes and stay in touch.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye bye.
You're welcome.
And so, yeah, thank you so much for watching this episode. And till the next time, keep blossoming, keep growing.